Your refrigerator. You see it as the safest place in your kitchen, a cold and quiet guardian of your family's health. But what if I told you it could be a potential crime scene? What if silent enemies are lurking inside, compromising your health every single day without you even knowing it? Today, we are not just giving you a list of foods, we are opening a special investigation. Welcome to CSI Refrigerator. Welcome back to Healthier Daily, the channel where we give you the simple science-backed truths to live a stronger and more independent life after 60. I'm your host, Dr. Ben Carter, and to be our lead investigator for this critical case, we are joined by a physician who has spent his life teaching the profound wisdom of looking for the hidden clues in the places we least expect them. It is our great honor to welcome Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you for having me, Ben. In medicine, we must sometimes become detectives, and the most important crime scene is often the place we believe to be the safest. The modern refrigerator is a miracle of technology, but it has also created a false sense of security. It is a place where small mistakes repeated day after day can lead to very large and very mysterious health problems. This is so very important. I had a patient, a wonderful woman, who was suffering from a collection of very strange and very frustrating symptoms. She had chronic fatigue, she had digestive problems, and she had a constant low-grade inflammation that none of her doctors could explain. Her case was a true mystery, and the clues were not in her blood tests. They were hiding in plain sight in her own kitchen. We had to investigate the crime scene, her refrigerator, to find the culprits.
And that is exactly what our guide is all about today. In this detailed masterclass, lead investigator Hinohara is going to walk us through his complete three-part case file. In our investigation today, as you are preparing for your dinner and your weekend, this Thursday evening, we will first open case file number 1, the chemical contamination. We will then investigate case file number 2, the inside job. And finally, we will expose the culprits in case file number 3, the bacterial ambush. It is a true blessing to have this kind of knowledge to be able to shine a light on the hidden dangers and to take back control of our own safety. If you are ready to put on your detective's gloves and to discover the hidden truths in your own refrigerator, please type the number 1 in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. It's completely free. And this is an investigation that could truly change your health. Okay, lead investigator Hinohara. Our investigation into the refrigerator begins now. For our patient with the mysterious symptoms and for everyone at home who is watching on this beautiful Thursday evening, let's open the first and the most critical case file. Where does your investigation begin?
Yes, our first investigation is not about the food itself, but about the very containers that we trust to keep our food safe. These are the silent assassins, the ones that leak their poison into our food slowly and quietly over time. This is case file number 1, the chemical contamination. And for my patient, the woman with the unexplained fatigue and inflammation, the very first question I asked her was not, "What are you eating?" but "How are you storing what you are eating?" Her answers gave us our first and most important set of clues.
So let's examine the first piece of evidence in this case file. It is something that I believe is in almost every single one of our viewers' pantries right now, and that is the simple open can.
Yes, the first rule of a safe and a healthy refrigerator is a very simple one. Once you open a can, you must never ever store the leftover food in that same can. It is a very dangerous and a very common mistake.
And the science behind this is so very important for our viewers to understand. There are two separate and very dangerous crimes that are happening inside that open can. The first crime is a heavy metal contamination. As the source text for our video so wisely explains, the beautiful protective lining of that can, which is often made of tin, is designed to be safe only when it is in a sealed oxygen-free environment. The very moment that you open that can, you introduce oxygen. And that oxygen, combined with the natural acids that are in the food, begins a chemical reaction that causes the tin to begin to leach or to migrate from the can's lining directly into your food. This is what causes that very unpleasant metallic taste that you have probably noticed before. That taste is the taste of a low-grade heavy metal poisoning.
But there is a second and an even more silent and more dangerous criminal that is at work here, is there not?
Yes, and this is the great and hidden danger. Many of the cans that are on our grocery store shelves still have an inner plastic lining that contains a very dangerous chemical that is called BPA, or bisphenol A. The BPA is what we call an endocrine disruptor. This is a scientific way of saying that it is a chemical that can mimic or interfere with your body's own natural and very delicate hormones. And scientific studies have now linked even very small amounts of this BPA to a whole host of very serious health problems, including fertility issues, metabolic disorders, and even an increased risk of certain types of cancer. So we have the tin and we have the BPA both silently leaching into our food. A very dangerous combination. Now, investigator, what is the second piece of evidence in our chemical contamination case file? I know this one is even more deceptive because it involves something that we all believe is perfectly safe.
Yes, our second culprit is a beautiful and a very clever one, because it hides behind a mask of beauty and of innocence. It is the painted glass jar.
And this is so very important. Many of us, in a beautiful and a very wise effort to be more sustainable, we will reuse our beautiful glass jars from the store. But as the source text for our video so wisely warns, there is a hidden danger in many of them. The beautiful and colorful designs, the measurement marks, or the logos that are baked onto the outside of the glass can often contain a very dangerous heavy metal lead. Now, if you are storing a dry food in this jar like rice or beans, the risk is very low. But the real danger happens when you store a very acidic food inside, like a beautiful homemade tomato sauce, or some fresh lemon juice, or even a vinegar-based salad dressing. The acid in the food can react with the enamel in the paint, and it can cause the lead to migrate through the glass and directly into your food. And as we now know, lead is an extremely toxic heavy metal that can accumulate in our body over time and can cause irreversible neurological damage.
And for my patient, the woman with the mysterious symptoms, this was another very important clue in her case. In her beautiful and her very wise effort to be more resourceful, she was reusing all of her old tomato sauce jars to be able to store her own beautiful homemade sauce. She had no idea that she was slowly and silently poisoning herself with every single bite.
It is a truly shocking and a very important piece of evidence. Now, investigator, what is the third and the final culprit in this case file?
Our final culprit is the one that is probably in your freezer right now, wrapped in what looks like a very innocent and a very clean white package. It is the polystyrene meat tray.
And the science on this is truly alarming. Let's look at the evidence. The beautiful and white styrofoam tray that your meat comes on is, of course, made of polystyrene. And within that polystyrene is a chemical that is called styrene, which has been classified by our health organizations as a possibly carcinogenic substance. And the research on this is very clear. A 2014 study from the FDA and another one from the Center for Environmental Health in 2024 both showed that the residual styrene in these trays can slowly and silently migrate out of the polystyrene and into any fatty food that it is in contact with, like our beautiful meat. And the longer that the meat is stored in that tray, the more of this dangerous chemical ends up on your plate.
But the crime does not stop there, does it? The way that we handle the tray at home can make the problem so much worse.
It can. And this is the compounded crime that so many of us are committing in our own kitchens. We take the tray out of the freezer and we put it straight into the microwave to defrost it, often with the plastic wrap still on top. And in that one single moment, we are releasing two different and very dangerous poisons at the same time. The heat of the microwave is accelerating the release of the styrene from the tray, and it is also causing the dangerous phthalates to be able to leach out of the PVC plastic wrap. And both of these chemicals are powerful and very dangerous endocrine disruptors.
So it is a double attack on our beautiful and our very delicate hormonal system. The solution to all three of these beautiful and silent crimes is a very simple and a very powerful one. The moment that you get home from the store, you must become the wise and the very careful gatekeeper of your own kitchen. You will immediately transfer your beautiful food out of these dangerous containers and into safe and beautiful ones, like a simple and a very clean, clear glass jar.
It is a truly blessed and a very profound thing to understand that our safety is so often found in these small, simple, and very mindful daily actions. So our first case file, the chemical contamination, has now been closed. We have identified three major culprits: the open can, the painted glass jar, and the polystyrene tray that are silently leaking their chemical poisons into our food. This is a critical and a very powerful first step in our investigation. But lead investigator Hinohara, as our viewers are thinking about their dinner on this beautiful Thursday evening, I know that there is another and perhaps a much more insidious type of crime that can happen in our kitchens. What is our second case file?
Yes, our second case file is a very special and a very clever one. In this case, the crime is not coming from the container. The crime is coming from within the food itself. This is case file number 2, the inside job. This is when a beautiful and a very innocent-looking food, through a simple mistake in our own kitchen, is transformed into a dangerous and a very toxic substance. The victim becomes the perpetrator.
So let's examine the first piece of evidence in this new and very disturbing case file. It is a humble and a very common food that is in almost every single one of our viewers' homes right now, and that is the simple potato.
Yes, and for my patient, the woman with the mysterious and unexplained symptoms, this was another very important clue that we discovered during our investigation. In a well-meaning attempt to be able to keep her food as fresh as possible, she was storing her raw potatoes in the refrigerator. She had been doing this for many, many years. She had no idea that with this simple and very common habit, she was performing a dangerous chemical experiment in her own kitchen every single day.
And her story is so incredibly common. Let's look at the deep and the very fascinating forensic science of what was happening inside of that potato. As the source text for our video so wisely explains, when a beautiful and starchy potato is stored at a very cold temperature below about 8 degrees Celsius, which is the temperature of a normal refrigerator, a special enzyme inside of the potato is activated. And this enzyme begins to convert the beautiful and complex starch into simple sugars, which are called reducing sugars. Now, this in itself is not a dangerous thing, but the real crime happens later in the second part of the operation. The crime happens when you take that beautiful refrigerated potato and you cook it at a very high temperature above 120 degrees Celsius by either frying it, baking it, or grilling it.
And in that intense heat, a very dangerous transformation occurs.
It does. In that high heat, those beautiful reducing sugars that were created in the cold of the refrigerator now react with a beautiful and naturally occurring amino acid that is in the potato, which is called asparagine. And this chemical reaction creates a new and a very dangerous compound that is called acrylamide. And the acrylamide has been classified by our international health organizations as a probable human carcinogen. And the evidence on this is truly alarming. The source text for our video today notes that if you leave a raw potato in the refrigerator for just 3 days, the amount of acrylamide that is formed when you cook it can increase by up to 6 times. It is a profound and a very shocking transformation.
So the beautiful potato is the innocent victim that is turned into a dangerous criminal by the simple mistake of storing it in the wrong and the very cold environment. So, investigator, what is the simple and the beautiful solution to this crime?
The solution is very simple, and it is the official recommendation of our health agencies. You must store your raw potatoes in a cool, a dark, and a very well-ventilated place, like a beautiful pantry or a simple cabinet. You are simply protecting the innocent victim from being turned into a dangerous perpetrator. So the potato is our first culprit in this inside job, a very clever and a very deceptive criminal. Now, investigator, what is the second and the even more dangerous culprit in this case file?
Our second culprit is not a secret at all. It is a well-known and a very dangerous criminal that has been officially and publicly classified as a killer. And it is the processed meats, the sausages, the ham, the bacon, and the salami.
And the evidence against this particular culprit is so overwhelming and so undeniable. As the source text for our video so powerfully states, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which is a part of the World Health Organization, has officially classified these processed meats as a Group 1 carcinogen. For our viewers at home who are watching this, is the exact same and the highest risk category as cigarettes and as asbestos. The evidence is not in doubt. It is proven to be carcinogenic to humans, and the statistics are truly sobering. The source text notes that large-scale studies like the ones from the UK Biobank and our own National Institutes of Health, which have followed over 500,000 people, have confirmed that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, which is the equivalent of just 2 small slices of bacon, or 1 single hot dog, can increase your risk of colorectal cancer by up to 18%.
And for my patient, this was the final and the most important clue in her entire case. For a quick and a very convenient lunch, she would often have a simple sandwich with a few slices of ham. She had no idea that with this simple and seemingly innocent meal, she was exposing her beautiful body to a known and a very dangerous carcinogen every single day.
So let's look at the forensic science of this. Why are these foods so very dangerous? As the source text explains, the main crime is not the meat itself, but it is the chemicals that are used to be able to preserve it, the nitrites and the nitrates. When these chemicals enter our body, and especially when they are exposed to the very acidic environment of our stomach, they can be converted into new and very dangerous compounds that are called nitrosamines. And it is these nitrosamines that are the powerful and the very direct carcinogens that can damage the beautiful and delicate lining of our colon.
So it is another inside job. The beautiful and innocent-looking meat is transformed into a dangerous killer by the beautiful and very dangerous chemicals that are hidden inside of it. The solution, once again, is a very simple and a very powerful one. You must reduce your consumption of these beautiful and dangerous foods as much as possible. And you must learn to choose the beautiful and fresh meats that you can prepare in your own kitchen with love and with great care.
It is a truly blessed and a wonderful thing to know that with this beautiful and simple wisdom, we can all become the wise and the very vigilant protectors of our own beautiful and sacred health. And we love sharing this kind of holistic wisdom with our global community. To help us see our global community, please let us know what city, state, or country you are watching from. We love hearing from all of you. So our investigation into the hidden dangers of the refrigerator has now exposed two very different but equally dangerous types of criminals. In our first case file, the chemical contamination, we unmask the silent poisons that are leaking from our containers. And in our second case file, the inside job, we saw how a simple storage mistake can turn an innocent food into a dangerous perpetrator. But now lead investigator Hinohara, as our viewers are thinking about their health on this beautiful Thursday, we must open our final and most primal case file. This is not about chemicals or complex reactions. This is about a direct and a very ancient threat.
Yes, our final case file is the oldest crime in the book. This is when our own beautiful refrigerator, the very device that is meant to protect us from harm, becomes a secret and a very dangerous hiding place for our most ancient of enemies. This is case file number 3, the bacterial ambush.
So let's examine the first piece of evidence in this new and very important case file. It is a very common scene in almost all of our homes. The simple and seemingly innocent pot of old leftovers.
Yes, and for my patient, the woman with the mysterious and the very unexplained symptoms of fatigue and of digestive distress, this was the final and the most important clue that solved her entire case. I asked her, "Tell me about your leftovers. How long do you keep them?" And she told me that she was a very frugal and a very resourceful woman. She would often keep her cooked rice and her beans in the refrigerator for a week or even longer. She told me, if it does not smell bad, it must be okay to eat. And this beautiful but very dangerous belief was making her sick.
And this is a mistake that is so incredibly common, and it is so very dangerous. Let's look at the deep and the very fascinating forensic science of what was happening inside of that pot of old rice. As the source text for our video so wisely explains, common and beautiful foods like rice and beans are the perfect and the most beautiful environment for a very sneaky and a very dangerous bacterium that is called Bacillus cereus. Now, what makes this particular bacterium so very clever and so very dangerous is that it is a spore-forming bacterium. For our viewers at home, who are now our lead detectives, you can think of these spores as being like tiny armored seeds. The initial cooking process may kill all of the active bacteria, but it does not kill these tough and very resilient armored spores.
And so the beautiful and dangerous seeds are left behind in the food, just waiting for the right and the perfect moment to be able to grow.
That is exactly right. As the beautiful cooked rice begins to cool down and it sits in your refrigerator for many, many days, these beautiful and dormant spores begin to wake up. They germinate and they begin to multiply. And as they do, they release a very dangerous and a very potent toxin into the food. Now, here are the two most dangerous and most important clues for our detectives at home. First, this is a silent crime. This dangerous toxin does not change the taste, it does not change the smell, and it does not change the appearance of the food at all. The rice will look and it will smell perfectly fine. And second, and this is the most critical part of all this, is a heat-stable toxin. This means that when you reheat the beautiful rice in your microwave, you are not destroying the poison that is already there. You are simply eating a warm and a very delicious bowl of a very dangerous toxin. And it is this toxin that was the cause of our patient's chronic and very mysterious digestive problems and her low-grade systemic inflammation. Her beautiful and intelligent body was in a constant and a very exhausting state of war against this low-level poison that she was eating every single day.
So, what is the simple and the very beautiful rule of safety that our viewers must follow?
The beautiful rule is the 3 to 4 day rule. You must consume all of your beautiful leftovers within 3 to 4 days. After that, you must not take the chance. It is always, always better to waste a little bit of food than it is to risk your precious and your sacred health. So the old leftovers are a very sneaky and a very dangerous trap. Now, investigator, what is the second and the final culprit in this bacterial ambush case file?
Our final culprit is perhaps the most surprising of all, because it is a crime that the refrigerator manufacturer themselves has set us all up to commit. It is the simple and the very common act of storing your eggs in the refrigerator door.
And this is such a powerful and a very important final clue. Let's look at the beautiful forensic science of this. The door of your refrigerator is the warmest and the most unstable part of the entire and beautiful machine. Every single time that you open and you close the door, the beautiful eggs that are sitting there are exposed to a sudden and a very dramatic change in temperature. And this constant and beautiful temperature fluctuation does two very dangerous things. First, it causes a beautiful and a very gentle condensation or sweat to be able to form on the outside of the eggshell. And this moisture is the perfect and the most beautiful vehicle for any dangerous salmonella bacteria that may be on the outside of the shell to be able to be drawn inside of the egg through its tiny and very porous openings. And second, that warmer and that more unstable temperature that is in the door is the perfect and the most beautiful breeding ground for that beautiful and dangerous salmonella to be able to multiply very, very quickly once it is inside.
So the beautiful and convenient little egg compartment in the door is, in fact, a beautiful and a very dangerous bacterial incubator. The solution, once again, is a very simple and a very beautiful one. You must always store your beautiful eggs on the middle or on the top shelf of your refrigerator, where the temperature is the most cold and the most stable. Now, investigator, let's go back one final time to our patient, the woman with all of the mysterious and unexplained symptoms.
Yeah, let's officially close the case.
This was the beautiful and the very successful conclusion to our investigation. For our patient, the solution was not found in a single and a very magical pill. The solution was found by a careful and a very patient investigation of her own beautiful kitchen. It was not one single and dramatic culprit that was making her sick. It was a coordinated attack from many different and very silent sources. Her beautiful body was fighting the lid from her painted glass jars. It was fighting the acrylamide that was being formed in her refrigerated potatoes. And it was fighting the low-grade bacterial toxins from her beautiful and week-old leftovers by simply and gently cleaning up the crime scene. By changing these few simple and very silent habits, the beautiful and mysterious symptoms that had been plaguing her for so many, many years finally and completely disappeared. The beautiful case was solved.
That is a truly beautiful and a blessed story, Doctor. It is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest and the most profound healing is found not in a complex and a very dramatic intervention, but in the simple, the quiet, and the very mindful correction of our own beautiful daily habits. Investigator Hinohara, that was an absolutely brilliant and a complete investigation. You have taken the place in our home that we trust the most, our refrigerator, and you have shown us that it can be a crime scene full of hidden dangers. Your CSI refrigerator protocol is a powerful and a very new way for all of us to think about our long-term cancer risk and our daily food safety. This is a profound and a very important new approach to our senior health. By learning to identify the chemical contamination, the inside job, and the bacterial ambush, our viewers can now stop being the unknowing victims, and they can start to become the lead investigators of their own health. This important knowledge is a true cornerstone of a proactive senior health strategy. Now for our viewers at home who are watching on this beautiful Thursday and are now ready to take control of their own crime scene, what is the investigator's field guide? What is the simple and the very actionable plan that they can start this weekend?
Yes, the master plan for a new and a very wise investigator is a very simple and a very beautiful one, and it begins with a new and a very clear set of protocols for your new week. You must not try to solve every crime all at once. That is the path to failure. Instead, you will begin with 3 simple and very clear procedures. Your first and most important job as the new lead investigator is to investigate your crime scene. This weekend, your only job is to be a curious and a very gentle detective. You will go to your beautiful refrigerator, and you will simply look for the clues. Do you see any opened cans? Are your beautiful potatoes stored in the cold? Where are your beautiful eggs? You are simply and with great curiosity assessing the scene. Your second job for this new week is to apprehend one culprit. You will not try to arrest every single criminal in your kitchen in one single day. You will simply choose one new habit to change this week. Perhaps it is the simple and the very powerful act of moving your beautiful eggs from the door to the middle shelf. It is just one small and very simple, but very powerful action. And your third and final job for this week is to establish a new protocol. You will create one simple and non-negotiable new rule for your kitchen. For example, from this day forward, you will have a new protocol that says, we will never ever store leftover food in an opened can. You are establishing a new and a very beautiful law for your own personal safety. This is how the beautiful and the very successful investigation begins.
That is a perfect and a very achievable field guide, investigator.
Your beautiful refrigerator is not a place to be feared. It is a place that needs your wisdom. It is a place that needs your gentle and your very vigilant attention. I encourage you to be a wise and a very loving protector of your own beautiful home and of your own beautiful and sacred health.
That is a beautiful and a very empowering message to end on, Doctor. Thank you for teaching us how to be a wise and a vigilant detective in our own kitchens. And for all of you who are watching at home, if you found this investigation eye-opening and it has changed the way that you look at your own refrigerator, please give this video a like. It truly helps others who may be unknowingly at risk to be able to find this important life-saving information. And be sure to share it with a friend or a family member who you know would appreciate these simple but very powerful safety tips. If you have not already, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. It is completely free and it ensures that you will not miss our next deep dive into your health and your well-being. We would be so honored to have you as a part of our growing community of health detectives. And for our community discussion today, we would love to know which culprit from our investigation shocked you the most to discover might be hiding in your own refrigerator. Please share your findings in the comments below. And finally, it is absolutely essential that you speak with your personal doctor or a food safety expert if you have any concerns about your health. Our conversation today is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for the direct medical advice from your own trusted physician. Thank you for being with us. Be well.